There is a version of aging that has nothing to do with the number on your birth certificate and everything to do with the 1,000 small decisions you make before 9 a.m. You have been taught to fight aging with more serums, more supplements, more hours at the gym you don't have time for. But in Japan, longevity was never built on more. It was built on less, done daily, without fail. These are 5 quiet habits, some physical, some invisible, that Japanese culture has practiced for generations, long before anti-aging was a shelf in a pharmacy. None of them cost money. All of them ask for your attention instead. 1. Hara Hachi Bu eating until you are 8 parts full picture, the end of a meal you didn't need to finish the plate empty out of habit, not hunger. The slight heaviness that follows you into the afternoon. Most people call this a normal dinner. In Okinawa, home to one of the highest concentrations of centenarians on Earth, there is a phrase for stopping before that point. Hara Hachi Bu eating until you are 80% full. It is not a diet. It is a boundary, spoken before every meal like a small vow to your future self. The Western way treats fullness as the finish line, a plate cleared, a container empty, a job well done. But the body does not register fullness in real time. It lags 15, 20 minutes behind the fork. By the time you feel done, you have usually already overshot. This is where the aging happens quietly, in the chronic, invisible overload your digestive system carries meal after meal, year after year, long before it shows up on a scale or in a mirror. Hara Hachi Bu asks you to stop at the 80% mark the moment you notice satisfaction rather than fullness, and simply set the fork down. Not because the food isn't good, because your future self doesn't need the last 20%. Practicing this once a day, at the meal where you tend to rush, is enough to start rewriting the reflex. It will feel unfinished the first week. It will feel like relief by the 3rd. And once your body stops carrying what it never needed, something else in your daily rhythm gets easier to notice. 2. Nagara Undo movement folded into the life you already have. A specific kind of guilt settles in after a full day of sitting the promise to exercise later. A vow that quietly evaporates by 8 p.m., replaced by a couch and a closing door on the day. Japanese daily life offers a different model. Nagara Undo movement done while doing something else. Calf raises while brushing your teeth. Squats while the kettle boils. Stretching while you wait for a page to load. It is exercise with no separate appointment, no gym bag, no changing of clothes. The Western instinct is to treat movement as an event, something scheduled, sweated through, showered off, and checked off a list. But this all-or-nothing model is exactly why so many people move less as they age. The event gets harder to schedule, so it disappears entirely, and the body simply stops being asked to do anything. Nagara Undo removes the appointment. It asks only that you notice the small pockets of stillness already built into your day, waiting, brushing, boiling, scrolling, and fill them with tiny deliberate motion instead of stillness. Pick one dead pocket of time today. The 2 minutes the coffee brews. The 30 seconds waiting for an elevator. Fill it with movements small enough that you'd never call it a workout, and notice how much your body was actually asking for, underneath the busyness you'd been using to excuse it. 3. Rajio Taiso, the 3-minute ritual that wakes the body before the mind. Most mornings begin with the mind before the body, a phone reached for in the dark, a mental list running before the feet have even touched the floor. The body, meanwhile, stays exactly as stiff and unstretched as it was at 3 a.m. Since the 1920s, millions of people across Japan have opened their day differently, with Rajio Taiso radio calisthenics, a short sequence of stretches and light movement broadcast each morning and performed, often in groups, before the workday starts. It is not a workout. It is a wake-up call written for the joints. The Western default treats the body as something to deal with later, after coffee, after email, after the mind has already spent its best hours elsewhere. But a body that goes straight from horizontal to sitting, with no transition, ages stiffer than one given even 90 seconds of deliberate motion first. Rajio Taiso is simple to borrow without the group or the broadcast. 3 minutes, done before your phone, before your coffee. Roll the shoulders back, reach both arms overhead and lengthen the spine. Circle the ankles one at a time. Twist gently at the waist, left and right. Nothing advanced, just movement in every direction your body forgot it could go while you slept. Do this before anything else pulls your attention, and the rest of your morning inherits a body that already feels 10 years lighter. 4. Shinrin-yoku, letting the nervous system remember what stillness feels like. No amount of sleep fixes a particular kind of exhaustion, the kind that comes from a nervous system that has been on for so long it forgets what off feels like. Screens, notifications, fluorescent light, day after day. In Japan, the antidote has a name and, since the 1980s, has been studied by the country's own forestry ministry, Shinrin-yoku forest bathing. The practice of walking slowly through trees with no destination, no pace to hit, no steps to log. Not a hike. Not exercise. Just presence, absorbed through the senses. The Western instinct, even at rest, is to optimize a walk turned into a fitness tracker goal, nature turned into a backdrop for a photo rather than an experience in itself. But this constant low-grade optimizing is precisely what keeps cortisol elevated and inflammation simmering, two of the quietest accelerants of visible aging. Shinrin-yoku asks for the opposite of achievement, 20 unhurried minutes among anything green, phone away, no goal but noticing the temperature of the air, the texture of bark, the sound underneath the traffic. You don't need a forest, a tree-lined street, a park bench, a single overgrown corner of a garden will do. What matters is the absence of agenda. Give your nervous system 20 minutes with nowhere to be, and the 10 years it's been aging you without asking starts, slowly, to unwind. 5. Kaizen, the 1% ritual that outlasts motivation somewhere in every closet, is a self-care routine abandoned after 4 enthusiastic days, the 10-step skincare set, the ambitious stretching plan. The journal with 3 entries and 100 blank pages, motivation always fades. In Japan, the answer to this was never more motivation, it was Kaizen, a philosophy of continuous improvement built entirely on changes too small to fail, 1% better, repeated, forever, not a transformation. A ritual so small it survives your worst days. The Western approach to self-improvement tends to demand intensity, the dramatic new regimen, the total overhaul, the routine so ambitious it collapses under its own weight by week 2. But the body doesn't age in dramatic overhauls either. It ages in the accumulation of 10,000 ordinary days. So Kaizen meets it there, one habit, shrunk down until it's almost embarrassingly small. 1 minute of face massage while your cleanser sits. 1 glass of water before your coffee. 1 page of stretching notes reviewed before bed. Choose a single ritual so small you'd feel silly skipping it, and repeat it at the same moment each day until it stops requiring willpower entirely. This is the real secret underneath all 4 habits before it, not intensity, but repetition small enough to survive the days you don't feel like it. None of these 5 habits will change how you look by tomorrow morning. That was never the point. Aging is not one dramatic event, it is thousands of ordinary ones, compounding quietly in the direction you weren't watching. Hara Hachi Bu, Nagara Undo, Rajio Taiso, Shinrin-yoku, Kaizen, each one is small enough to start today and honest enough to still be there next year. Pick one. Not all 5. One small enough that missing it would feel strange, not one big enough that starting it feels heavy. The years ahead are being written already in habits this quiet. You just have to choose which ones.